Greetings metalheads and welcome to another edition of the Friday 13th YouTube channel. I hope you're all well. So today you're going to be watching an interview with Tom Naumann from the band Sinner, who are about to release their new album on Atomic Fire Records entitled Brotherhood. This is a really cool album. It comes out in July. So check out the interview. I hope you like it. Leave some comments. Much appreciate it. And also please share on social media such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. So thank you very much for watching. Be safe metalheads. Enjoy the interview and I'll speak to you soon. Thanks for watching. I'd also like to thank Marcus at Atomic Fire Records for setting up the interview and also Tom for doing the interview. Much appreciated, guys. Thank you very much.
Jason, how are you?
How are you? Good to hear from you, my friend. Nice speaking to you anyway. So I'm going to ask you some warm-up questions first, Tom. A guitarist inspired you to be a guitarist. Who's your influences?
Oh, that's a tricky question because there are so many influences. When I grew up and I started learning the guitar, I started with a tennis racket in the living room, banging to Status Quo, and then I did it with Kiss, and then I think my first influence was Glenn Tipton of Judas Priest. Because of him, I started playing the guitar or to pick up the guitar. Then also Angus Young was also an influence, and then so many like Brad Gillis of Night Ranger, Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhoads. So many, Steve Lukather, Neil Schon, so many guys who play great guitars and have great ideas and playing the right notes at the right spots. So there are a lot of guys who inspired me or influenced me, but there is no particular one guy that I want to be like him or so. So because that would not make sense, because I know so many people that they can play every note from Yngwie Malmsteen. But there's only one Yngwie Malmsteen. So I never tried to copy one guy. So I just picked up for me, the best pieces of everybody. And then I mixed it. And then I tried it with my fingers. And then that's what came out.
Wow. So what was your first guitar? Can you remember your first guitar?
Hang on.
You still own it?
This is my first guitar.
Oh, wow.
This is hang on a sec, maybe I can, so this is an Ibanez guitar, and my parents bought it it was 550 Deutschmarks, which is 225 euro right now.
Wow.
So, and she's still I don't play it anymore because she stayed it, but I still got her.
Wow, that's amazing, because a lot of musicians don't have their first guitars or drums anymore, but you've done well.
Yeah, it's okay, she's really old and I don't play her anymore. I think I need to take care a bit of her a bit, but yeah, and she was also on a video of Mad Sinner, Back to the Bullet.
Wow.
I think every second counts.
Okay, brilliant.
She was on that video.
I mean, you actually joined the band for the album Respect, didn't you? That was your first album with Sinner. How did you hook up with Sinner?
I first got in touch with Sinner 1988, 87, 88, 87, I guess, because I got my own band and we won a competition, and the prize was to record a demo. And Matt, he produced a demo, and there was a song on from our band called Everybody Needs Somebody. And a couple of months later, Matt called me and said that they would like to do a ballad, and he liked my song and he asked me if they can record it for their album Dangerous Charm. And I agreed, so that was my first touch then. And by that time, that was Matthias Tandid and Andy Susumil were in the band, and they both went to Udo. And so Matt needed the new guitar players. And so I said, I would like to do it. And so I had a meeting, and we played a couple of songs, and then I was in the band.
Wow. So what was your band called?
And then I played my first tour in 1988. It was the Dangerous Charm tour. And my real first thing with Sinner was Back to the Bullet, Matt's solo album. It was my first experience in a really professional recording studio and to record an album. Right. And then 1992 was Respect. You know my alibis. And so many albums. So.
So what band was you in before Sinner? Which band did you come from that did the
It's
demo?
called Freeze Frame. So fortunately, we had like, I grew up in a small city, but we have like 5 guys and we were friends and we're all playing guitars. And so we have like 2 or 3 bands there. Like there was like a really competition and everybody wants to be better than the other guitar player, but we were still friends. So we practiced hard but we showed each other the new stuff. Oh, I can play this, I can play that. So we all got better. And then I had this band and the other guitar player was a good friend of mine called Armin. And Armin was in Sinner before I came. So Armin and I, we were like together for 1 or 1.5 years together in Sinner. And then he quit. And then we got a new guitar player with Alex Byron.
Wow. So I mean, all the albums you've done with Sinner. Do you have a favourite Sinner album and why?
That's a good question. But I think I would love the new one. I really love the new one because it reminds me of the older stuff we did back in the 90s with Judgment Day and Nature of Evil and all that stuff. So I think right now, I think the latest album is my favorite. And this is not because it's brand new, because I love the songs. Simple as that.
Okay then. So I mean, your involvement with Primal Fear still, aren't you? So what's briefly just before we talk about the new album, what's happening with Primal Fear at the moment?
Yeah, we needed to postpone our European tour and our America tour because of Corona and COVID. And we're supposed to play festivals in the summertime, like Summer Breeze and Metal Hammer Paradise in November. But unfortunately, Matt is ill and we are not sure if we can make the dates. So we will have to wait and see how his recovery will be. I hope he has a speedy recovery. So
yeah,
we could be back on track as soon as possible. And right now, Alex, Ralph and myself, we are starting writing songs for a new album.
Oh well, send my regards to Matt for me, please. Hope he gets well soon.
Yeah, I hope so too. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to talk
it looks good. So it looks really good. I wrote with him yesterday, and it seems all right. So, but it will take some time to be back to 100%.
Right
but
then.
Fingers crossed that he will make it.
Yeah, me too. Brilliant. So we're going to talk about the new album, Brotherhood, which is released on July the 15th. So, how did the album title come up? Who came up with the title? What has it been to you guys?
Title is pretty simple. There are like 2 points. Like, first point was like, as I mentioned, I know Matt since 90, 80, whatever, as like 40 decades, and we're not only hanging together when it comes to music, because we live close to each other, so we have the same favorite football team, and we phone every day, and we meet, we hang out for coffee, all that stuff. The drummer, Marcus Kuhlmann, is in my AC/DC tribute band for 6 years, so I know him for a very long time. Alex Scholp, the other guitar guy who plays with Tarja, had his own band, and I was his booking agency, so I know him also for like 10, 15, 20 years right now. Matt and Marcus, they play together in Voodoo Circle.
Yeah.
So we had a good connection together, and not only when it comes to music, so also in private life we hang together. That was the one point. The other point was like when we started writing the songs, we were in the middle of Corona, so it was a pretty tough time for everybody because we were not allowed to play or to rehearse or even to meet each other because of all that lockdown stuff. So we needed to do something, and then we started to come closer, and we just started to help each other. So when we recorded the album, we just said we want to go into a studio of a friend of ours so that he can earn some money. So we went into the studio from our live mixing guy, Basi, and recorded the drums and parts of the guitars there. Then we went to Jakob Hansen, who did all the Primal Fear and the Sinner albums the last couple of years. So to give him some money. Then we asked Oliver Palotai, the keyboard player of Camelot, sorry, who lives like 25 kilometers away from my hometown, if he would like to participate in doing the keyboard stuff. And so he got some money. And then we just try to get closer. And we had a lot of, or I had a lot of phone calls with friends and musicians in the German metal community or rock community. And we really started to together. And it was like, wow, I never thought that this could happen, but it was really, really healthy. And yeah, that's why we called the album Brotherhood.
Oh wow! So who did the artwork for this album?
Sorry?
Who did the artwork for the album?
I cannot tell you this because I think it was this picture was done by some artist and we just licensed it. I think the record company licensed it, but we had these two albums before, like Santa Muerte and Tequila Suicide, and the artwork was like in the same way. So we changed the music style a bit. We got heavier, but we didn't want to change everything. So we stayed in the way of the other albums when it comes to the artwork.
Yeah, okay. I've noticed that your music's very Celtic, very like Thin Lizzy, Gary Moore-ish. Do you agree with me on that?
Totally. Matt and I were totally Thin Lizzy fans. And Lizzy was a huge influence. And I was so happy that I also do this rock meets classic thing. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah, I know Alex is a friend of mine. So yeah, he's Bonnie Tanner and loads of musicians.
So I had the opportunity to share the stage with Scott Gorham 2 times, which is like a dream come true. Then we played in Temple Bar in Dublin, and Matt and I went to the grave of Phil Lynott. So we also covered a couple of Lizzy songs, and Lizzy is a huge influence when it comes to music, and we love this double melody stuff. So I would totally agree that we are influenced by Thin Lizzy.
Yeah, definitely. You said this new album's definitely got the Celtic vibe, but it's also got a heavier vibe, like you said earlier on. The band's gone heavier on this album.
Yeah, but I think, to be honest, I think that Thin Lizzy is one of the most underrated bands because they influence so many bands, lyric-wise and twin lead double stuff, and they're really always under the radar a bit. They should be really more accepted.
I mean, for me, I'm a big Thunder and Lightning. I think that's my favourite Thin Lizzy album.
Life and Dangerous.
Yeah.
This is also a great one.
So I'm gonna ask you about the record label, Atomic Fire. Obviously, this is a subsidiary of Nuclear Blast Records, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So why did you not stay with Nuclear Blast and go with Atomic Fire? What's the difference between both labels?
I think that the Nuclear Fire was sold to another company called Believe, and this is more digital stuff. They are based in Hamburg. And the guys who started Atomic Fire, like is Markus Steiger. He was the owner of Nuclear Blast. So he said, okay, I sold my stuff. So I'm doing something different. And the CEO is Markus Voskian and Flori Mills. And we know these guys for a long time. Because we were with Nuclear Blast in the 90s. Before we went to Frontier Records. And so we know them for a very long time. And as they started doing their own label, we got free. So our contract ran out with Frontiers. And so we got a new contract with Primal Fear and Sinner. So, and it's pretty easy because they are based in Dunsdorf, which is like a really small city, like 40 kilometers from my hometown. So you're very close together and we're really friends and we could talk in our native language. And so that's pretty cool.
Oh, wow. So the album, how long did it take to record this album? Because it was done through a lockdown. How long did it take for you to process the album?
So the thing is that Matt and I, we met at his home in his kitchen. We had a coffee like this one. And we started to discuss how the album should sound. And then we said we want to be different than the last 2 albums. And maybe we should go back to the 90s where we recorded albums like Bottom Line, Judgment Day, and Nature of Evil, and write songs in the style of this period of Sinner. And I think the writing process took like 2 or 3 months. We were pretty quick, and then the album was done so far. And we wanted to enter the studio in May, but it got postponed because of the health issue of Matt. And then we went into the studio in the beginning of October to record the drums. Then I got a small studio at home, so I recorded some basic guitar there. And then I think in November I went with Alex, the other guitar guy, into studio again and recorded all the lead stuff. And I think in 3 or 4 days, so that was pretty cool. And the album was done by the end of November. And then we did send all the stuff to Jakob Hansen, and the album was mixed till mid-January or so.
Wow, excellent. So how do you see this album as a progression from the previous albums?
It's more heavier, definitely. Yeah, we went back to sort of our roots, like as I told you before, like 25 years ago, we did albums like that, but it sounds more fresh to me in my ears. We started to include orchestral parts again. Then we have this cover song from the Killers, so
Yeah.
which is like a band. You never thought that we could do a cover for that, but we really do not care. Like when we play live, we had this Rebel Yell cover song with Billy Idol, which is a total different style of music to me than Sinner. And when we play live, we also play some Police or some different stuff. And so we just want to try out something. And this time we said, okay, let's try the Killer song because we like the Killers. And then we recorded it, and then it turned out to be a good song, and so we put it on the album.
Oh wow! So I mean, this album's got guests on it, as you said earlier. Oliver's on the album. You've also got Ralph from Primal Fear.
Yes.
You've got Tom from Evergrey and Ronnie Romero, and Dave from Benediction. How did you get in touch with these guys?
You know, when you're in the business for so long, you meet the guys somehow, like Eric from Eclipse or Ronnie Romero. Ronnie Romero was supposed to be on Rock Meets Classic last year, playing some Rainbow songs. And so we know Ronnie for a couple of years right now. And he used to play with Corleone, the guitar player of Gotthard's own band, as far as I can remember. And so we know Leo, and no, when there's a festival time, you meet all the guys.
Yeah.
And most surprisingly, I think that we have Dave Graham from Benediction on the album, because it's a total different music style
Yeah,
than we are
definitely.
doing. And I'm really happy that we have Tom England of Evergrey on the album. I met this guy last week when I was at Metal Fest in Pilsen, the Czech Republic, as a guest. And I met him and we had a talk. He's a really nice guy, and I really love his voice, and I really love the band Evergrey. And I was really happy that he said yes to put some vocals on this album.
Right then. So I mean, Dave from Benediction. I mean, is he growling? Is he growl on the album? Don't know. He growls.
No, not really. He's on I Refuse to Surrender.
Okay. Was it
It's more,
difficult?
it's not like a clean voice, but it's not really a bit like that. But I think it fits to the song, and he's a nice guy.
All right then. So did you have any other guests in mind for this album? Was it just these people that you have, these musicians?
Once again, please.
Did you have any other musicians in mind to record, to be guests on the album?
Yeah, we got Gio from who also sang on the last albums. We got Ralph, we got Eric from Eclipse, we got this guy from MGM, we got Oliver Palotai. Yeah, I think that's it.
Wow.
We've
Okay.
got a lot of guests.
Wow, excellent. So the album's got 11 songs on it, and plus that bonus song by The Killers. What songs are your favourite on the new album, and why? Which ones are your favourites?
Oh, it depends. It depends on my daily mood. So you can switch from Bulletproof to Brotherhood to Last Generation, or to My Scars. So I'm really open to that. So I don't have like, if you write 9 songs out of 11 or 12 tracks, it's sort of your baby, like, and you love your babies, you love your kids. And so that's not a real favorite song for me personally. I love them all, but yeah, I think Bulletproof, Brotherhood, Last Generation, My Scars. These are really good ones.
Right then. So
What's
how's
your
the
favorite?
Bulletproof's a good song. It's got that kind of priesty vibe. It's like good kick in the ass sort of opening track.
Okay.
There's some really good songs in there, like Gravity's a really good song, Refuse to Resender. Obviously, the title track Brotherhood's a really good song as well.
Okay.
So, like I say, when I said to you earlier on, there's a lot of Celtic vibe in there, like Thin Lizzy, then it goes to like the heavier sort of side of like Primal Fear, but it's not Primal Fear, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But
But the
yeah,
thing is, I had this question all the time. Like it's heavier now. It sounds more like Primal Fear, and I go like, yeah, but 1996, the time where Primal Fear didn't exist.
yeah,
We wrote albums like that before. So normally it's like Primal Fear sounds like Sinner.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
And the fun part was like that Avantasia, they released a new song and Ralph sang on it. And it sounds like Primal Fear. And if Ralph would have sung on the Sinner album, probably it would sound like Primal Fear. So because it's has a lot of to do with Ralph's voice, because Ralph's voice is like the voice of Primal Fear.
Yeah.
And probably he could sing any coffee advertisement on TV, any commercial, and was like, hey, that sounds like Primal Fear. It's like
Yeah.
that.
So what about the album reviews? How's the press been taking the new album so far? Have you heard anything about the press? What the reactions are to the new album?
And we got really positive reviews so far. There's not one guy said, oh, it's a disappointing album because it's too weak or too heavy. So the label is pretty satisfied, and we got the first reviews from the press. It's all good so far. Everybody seems to like the album. That's cool. I'm
Wow.
pretty. We are pretty happy, and we are also pretty happy because we managed to do an album in this tough times with lockdown and all that stuff, and it really came out as a strong album this time.
Wow. So when do we expect to see Sinner touring then, Tom? Is there any bookings for this year? Or is it next
I
year?
cannot tell you because it all depends. Like Matt has his health issues, and when he's recovered to 100%, I think we will play live. But probably, as you know, in England, probably the same because of the lockdown. A lot of clubs has to close, and like we have our technicians, and they changed the job because they had no work, and all the nightliner companies they had their buses. And now everybody's got more expensive. Though, like if you need a good technic guy, you have to pay double the price. If you need a nightliner, you have to pay more than a third from the last price. And everybody's on tour right now, and everybody needs cars and technicians and all that stuff. And yeah, it's pretty tough at the moment. But we need to play a couple of shows, but I don't know when this will happen. First of all, Matt should be back in business soon to 100%, and then we will make plans on doing live shows again.
Okay, well, thank you, Tom, for doing this interview today. I wish you all the best. Do you have anything to say to the people watching this on YouTube?
Stay safe, stay sane, and celebrate life.
Right, thank you very much, Tom. Thank you.
Thank you,
So,
Jed.